class, I want to talk with you about finding a good space to do your observational perspective drawing. I'm going to be using my room for this demonstration, and my room's about 12 feet by 15 feet. So you don't want to want to use, I would say, a space smaller than that. So let's say you want to use a medium to large room. And the reason is because if you get a really small room, your vanishing point's going to be way off the page, and it's going to be difficult to do. Because you're going to have to be very close to the corners. So we're going to talk about finding a good position to do your drawing. So this is way too close. So this is going to be very difficult to draw something in perspective for this project because your vanishing points are going to be way out there. So in my room, because it's smaller, when I do my drawing, I'm going to go to the very other corner. Now if you have a larger room, it's possible you could go closer to the middle. But you want to make sure you're a decent distance away from the corner. Now let's talk about eye level. So the eye level and the horizon line are at the same place. So to find the eye level, imagine your eyes had laser beams, okay, and it shoots directly out, okay, parallel with the ground. That's where your eye level is. If I was kneeling, my eye level would be right here. If I was laying on the floor, and I don't know if you can see me right now, my eye level would be right here. Okay, if I was standing on something, okay, my eye level is now up here. And like I said, if you don't have a place that you could work from a photo. Now in preparation for the drawing, you're going to want to place a line on the wall at your eye level that you're going to be drawing from. Now, if you're standing when you draw, then your eye level is going to be up here. However, if you're sitting, like I'm going to be sitting, then your eye level is going to be closer to here. So what you're going to do, you're going to get a little bit of tape, and I'm going to imagine I'm sitting. I'm going to place my eye level right there. What you want to do, so I put a piece of tape there, and then I'm going to make a mark. Okay, and that's where my eye level is going to be. In preparation for your perspective drawing, you're going to want to draw on your 18 by 24 inch drawing paper a 2-inch border. And this will allow you to draw vanishing points off the page. Or off the format. It'll still be on the page, but outside the format. Hello class, so the first thing you're going to want to do in your drawing is you're going to want to establish your horizon line. And you want to make sure that your horizon line is perfectly horizontal. So you don't want it to be like this, you don't want it to be like this, or like this, okay? It needs to be perfectly horizontal. And I'm going to draw a little dark so that you can see my marks, but you're going to want to draw lightly, particularly when you're trying to figure out what the proportions are going to be and what the angles are going to be. Later on, you can start to darken lines up. Okay, and make sure that it actually should go all the way to the end of the paper. Because it's possible, or it's likely, that your vanishing points are going to go over there. So you want to make sure that you can see this. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to establish the farthest vertical edge. If you remember from the quick lecture I gave, in 2-point perspective, when you're drawing the corner of a room, it's as if you're drawing the back side of a cube. Okay, so that vertical edge that's close to you is not going to be present, but the edges in the back will. That's basically what you're drawing here. And when you draw your vertical edge, you want to make sure it's perfectly vertical. You don't want it to be like this or like that, okay? Perfectly vertical. Okay, I made it a little bit big. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to choose a basic unit. And my basic unit is going to be from eye level to where the floor meets the wall. Okay, alternatively, you do from eye level to where the floor meets the ceiling. Okay, so right here, this is going to be my basic unit from here to here. And we've already delineated on the wall in real life where the eye level will be. So when you make these measurements, you're going to be holding out your hand, capturing that in your mind's eye from eye level to the floor, and using that to figure out where things are going to be placed. Okay, and I could already see right now, if I measure from the floor to eye level, then from eye level to the ceiling, it's about 2/3 of this, the floor to eye level. Okay, so let's measure this out. Okay, so that's 1, and then 2/3 is about right here, right there. Okay. Now, once you've done that, once you've captured the farthest vertical edge from you, then what you're going to do, you're going to measure the angle of these major edges, okay, where the floor meets the wall and where the wall meets the ceiling, and you're going to use those to help find your vanishing points, your 2 vanishing points. So let's do that now. So I'm going to measure this angle right here. And when you measure it, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold your hand out, either perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal, whatever's closest to the angle you're measuring, and you're going to look for the little triangle that's made, or if it's easier for you, the little angle that's made, and just take a mental picture of it. Okay? And I'll do that on this photograph, okay? So I would have held my pencil out, and I would have looked for that angle right here. Okay, and then now I'm going to measure this angle, okay? Okay, Okay, and you can see how they're meeting at the same point on the horizon line. Okay, so this will be your first vanishing point. There's actually an issue with this, and I'll talk about it after. Okay, so now I'm going to measure this angle. Okay, so I'm going to hold my pencil out perfectly vertical and measure this angle right here. Okay, and this angle I can see is a little bit more acute than the one on the other side. You can see it meets at this point right here. So now we have our other vanishing points. Now in some cases, the vanishing point will be outside of this format, okay? It's very possible that it'll go outside there. And what you can do is you get a piece of printer paper and you can kind of build a little flap. And unfortunately, I can't really do it right here because I'm not working on a table. But what you would do is you would tape a flap on, and you could tape it, you know, right here like this. Okay, and then you could continue your horizon line onto that paper, and you can, you know, hypothetically, you know, have a vanishing point out here, and you could line up all your lines to it. However, we have a little bit of a problem here, and I think this is important to happen in demos, so you could realize how the drawing process works. And not everything works out perfect. And I just realized that the vanishing point's ending right here. And that's a bit of an issue because things that are beyond this vanishing point, for example, if I draw the form out here, it's going to begin to get distorted. So you don't want to draw items outside of these two vanishing points. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to erase this and make this a little bit larger and possibly push this to the right a little bit so that this vanishing point is close to the edge of the format. Okay, so everything's contained within the format. So you're going to want to have your vanishing points close to the edge of the format or beyond it a little bit. Or if you'd like, you could, you know, make the flap like I did, and you could have it, you know, even farther outside the format. But you don't want to have it coming in too close from this edge. So I'm going to erase all of this, and this is why you want to work lightly, because these things could happen. Okay, so I'll make it just a little bit bigger, and I'll push it to the right. And that'll make it so that the vanishing points end very close to the edge or a little beyond it. To the right of that one and make it slightly bigger. So how about I place it right here? Okay, and go a little bit bigger. And actually I'm going to measure it. If I make the part that's a basic unit a little bit bigger, it'll work out. So draw lightly at first. That's the life lesson, drawing life lesson here. Okay, so let's go back to this. If you remember, our basic unit, from the floor to the eye level, okay, that basic unit, it's 2/3 of that, from the eye level to the ceiling. So we got our basic unit here. And 2/3 will be about right here. Maybe a little bit above that. About right there. Okay, so let's make this measurement again. Okay, so alright, looks like we're heading in the right direction. Now we're very much closer to the edge of the format. Okay, it's better. Alright, let's measure this angle. Okay, this one's a little bit small. We only have this little overhang, which is a little bit awkward. We'll make it work. Okay, now let's go in the other direction. So let's measure this angle. Keep this nice and clean. So we'll take out any of these little stray marks. Okay. And now I'm going to measure this angle. Okay. It's a little more acute. So maybe right there. Okay, and sometimes when you draw it, you don't measure it perfectly. It lines a little bit outside of the line. The two lines will meet a little bit out. The two converging lines will meet a little bit outside of the horizon line. But you just have to use your best judgment and bring it up a little bit. Right there, okay? So there's one vanishing point, and this one I'll just place right here. So there's another vanishing point. So one's basically at the edge of the format. Another one's about, 1.25 inches outside the format. So that's good. We're not going to have any distortion here, since all our scene will be within the two vanishing points. So once you have a horizon line, farthest vertical edge, these major converging lines, and your two vanishing points, you're ready to continue with your drawing. So what I'm going to draw next is this door right here. See this door? So what you're going to do, you're going to go back to your basic unit. Let's see, okay, so. Alright, and I'm going to draw this, I'm going to try to draw this line right here. So I'm doing my measurement. Okay. Alright. I like that, and I realize, okay, it's about 1 and 1 1/4, if that. Okay, so I come to here,
go. Okay, well, one, so one's right here, two's right here, so 1 1/4 is about right here, okay? So then now we're gonna measure, the height of that door, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our basic unit again, and I'm gonna measure from, from where eye level's at, okay? And I'm realizing, okay, it goes about halfway above eye level. Okay, it's at this point right here. Where it goes about half a basic unit above eye level. Okay, so we're about right here, okay? Now, and since it's a door, it's gonna go all the way to where the wall meets the floor. So that we won't have to measure. And this is also gonna be perfectly vertical. Okay, so not like this, not like that, perfectly vertical. Okay, so now, so then once you have this one edge, what you could do is you can follow the top of this to the vanishing point. Okay, like I said, keep these lines light. I'm gonna work a little bit darker so you can see them. But you're gonna wanna keep them light. The next edge I'm gonna measure is this one, okay, on the other side of the door. And I'm gonna find the location of that using my basic unit. So like this. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, it looks about 3/4 of our basic unit. Like here. Okay, there's one. Okay, so 3/4 is about right here. Let me check that. It looks a little funny. Okay, so there's our. Okay, so I'm looking at it, and yeah, it's about 3/4. Okay, so I go into here, and I go like that. Yeah, we're actually gonna probably be about right here. Okay, so when I draw this edge, I'm gonna go. Okay, and this one's gonna be perfectly vertical as well. Okay, I'm gonna follow it up. And as you can see, you can start to see that a door is being developed. Okay, and then I could draw the other part of it, the door jamb. Okay, that's gonna be another vertical edge. Okay, and then I need to draw this part of the door jamb. And I'll draw that to the other. I'm not gonna go all the way across because it's such a small little piece. Let's draw the refrigerator. That looks fun. So I'm gonna capture my basic unit. I'm gonna measure how far this edge is. Okay, and I'm gonna measure how far it is from right here. So my basic unit. It's a little, so it's right here. It's a little below 1, just barely. Just a little bit. Good. So we're looking about right here. Okay, now let's look at where the top of the refrigerator ends. And it ends very close to the horizon. And it ends very close to eye level. Okay, I'm just gonna eyeball it probably about right here. Okay, and as you guessed, this is gonna go to that vanishing point. How about we draw this map? See this map? This map came with my room. It's the map of the United States. So let's draw that. Okay, and you're gonna start, and we're just gonna eyeball where this is at. Since we already know where this edge is, then we know it's very close to that. We're just gonna push it over a little bit. Okay. Well, we do need to measure, and we're gonna, you know what, I'm gonna eyeball the top too. So it looks like it ends just a little bit above this right here. So I'm gonna place it right there. And it looks like it ends about right here. I'll place that right there. Okay, and guess what we're gonna do? Once you've found the top and the bottom of your vertical edge, you're gonna bring it to the appropriate vanishing point. Actually, I realized I did this a little too high. Let's go a little bit lower. Okay, that's why I say keep your lines light. So that's 2. Okay, so let's go right there. Okay, now start to begin to draw the bed. And I know that right here, there's a vertical edge, so let's find where that vertical edge is at. This one's gonna be a little bit of a harder one. It's definitely a double dare challenge here. So if I go back to my basic unit, like this, 1, 2 is right there, so it's about 1 2/3. Okay, over, so we got 1. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, that's 2. So 1 2/3 is about right here, okay? So that's how far it is over to the left, but how far down is it? It's another thing we gotta figure out, okay? So it looks like it ends a little bit, the bottom of it is a little bit, the bottom of it is a little over 1 below the eye level. So let's go back to that. Okay, so 1, it's about right here. So that's where that corner exists. Okay. So we're gonna draw this little baby corner. Okay, and I'm gonna take the top of it to this vantage point. Okay, and I'm gonna take the bottom of it to the vantage point. And I'm like, okay, well, there's another little corner right there. And bring that to that vantage point. And then actually, I should have gone a little bit past that edge because that's going to be helpful for this. And then it curves. Okay, and then now you make this edge, so how are we going to do that? What you're going to do is you really just need to find any point along this edge that you can be sure is an accurate location, and you're going to bring that point to the vanishing point. So I know that there's this point right here where this edge of the back of the bed meets the mattress. So I know where that point's at. It's right here. So I can bring that point to the vanishing point on the left. Okay. Actually, I need to go a little bit farther on that one. Okay, and then not everything's gonna have a sharp edge. In some cases, you might have to, soften out the edge or curve it. Okay, and we actually never found this edge right here. Okay, we found this one right here, which is underneath this little overhang. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start to draw in this overhang, and then find this corner and draw that angle right there. So, let's see. It's about a quarter. Okay? About a quarter. Right there, so it's about right there. It's not closer, so you draw a vertical edge right here. And hopefully it goes above a little bit, right about there. And then once you figure out where that point is, you could bring this across so I could capture this edge right here. Okay. And actually what I'm going to do is, since there's an intersection right here, I'm going to draw that out so I can get that part of the overhang. Okay. And then now that I know where this point is, I'm going to bring that over here and look at that angle. I'm not going to take this any farther, But to develop this further, you would continue to find where your vertical edges are placed, how high or low they are above the eye level, and how long they are. Once you've established that, then you're gonna bring the topic, then you're gonna bring one end to a vanishing point and the other end to a vanishing point. And once you've drawn in all your forms, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna begin to erase these construction lines, okay, that are not gonna be used in the final drawing, okay? So for example, with this line, I'd erase that. Okay, I'd erase all this. Okay, I'd erase all this. And that's how you want to draw very lightly when you're establishing your form, so this could erase very easily. Since I want a little darker to show you the lines, I'm going to have a little bit more trouble, but that's okay. Okay, you're going to erase all these lines that you're not going to see in the finished drawing. Okay, and then once you're done erasing all the lines, then you could go in and begin to, experiment with line quality. Okay, if it's something closer, then perhaps you could give it a darker line. If something farther away, you could give it a lighter line. Okay, but I'll leave that up to you. Now, this is a little bit more of a challenging project, so I just want to let you know and remind you that I'm available on Canvas if you have any questions. Just send me a message on Canvas or email me,